try something a bit different for this new video. So instead of my usual track by track deconstruction of the track, I wanted to go a bit deeper on my process for creating this doom jazz horror Alone in the Dark inspired new track. I'm playing the recently released Alone in the Dark right now, the one made by Pieces Interactives, and there is this really interesting doom jazz uncanny soundtrack that really strikes me. So I wanted to do something inspired by that in my own style, obviously. So here we go. I did when creating the track was to look for a special piano sound, something that we're not used to hear. As we are in like a dark horror mood, I wanted to try something blend piano sound with uncanny texture. So I go with alt piano by Westwood Instruments, and this is I don't think, yeah, it's a Rob's natural mix preset, but I add the texture grain here, and I can control the volume of the texture with my mood wheel. So this is what it sounds like. It's a really cool sound, and I play like this. So here is my mood wheel automation, so you can see how the texture is like coming and going like an ebb and flow all along the track. More thing to look at on the FX panel, you can see that I think the noise was already turned on by default with the preset. The delay is the vintage delay because it has this really old and gritty sound, and I had a little bit of reverb here too. And I think this is the EQ is also coming with the preset. So nothing too fancy here. I have another EQ here. I boost the bass frequency a little because this is my like the first sound you hear in the track is that piano. So I wanted to have something that really had a punchy sound, and I get rid of some of the mid frequency here, and my the Reaper stock compressor here is used to tame the sound, but also to make it a bit more present. I use the auto makeup and the limit output here, so it allows me to beef up the sound a little, if that makes sense. The second thing I did was to use the electric home piano, also by Westwood Instrument. And if you listen to doom jazz typical track or the Alone in the Dark soundtrack, you will hear a lot of electric sound, a lot of synth, old-time synth sound. So electric on piano was perfect for that kind of ambient. I did the same trick here. I use a preset called Electric Piano Dry. So it's like my regular sound for that instrument. But I also add the soft electric piano, which bring a little warmth to the whole sound. And I also use Texture Breeze, which I can also control with my mode wheel here. So here is what it sounds like. Again, really rumbling in the bass frequencies, and I've tamed the bass frequencies actually, so You see, I'm rediscovering it as I go. I thought there were more bass frequency here, and it's not the case. Again, the Reaper compressor is doing the same thing, keeping everyone in place while level up a bit of the sound. I think that the thing I did next was to use this cool instrument called Arkhis by Native Instrument and Orchestral Tools. I think it's the only Orchestral Tools instrument I really use. It's a orchestral textural library, and it's really helpful when you do underscore or very gentle textural thing like I did very often. So this is a preset called Quintus Dreaming, and it's based on brass and a wind instrument. The idea with Arkhis is simple. When you play at 0 dynamic on the mode wheel here, you're playing this samples, and as you go further on your mode wheel, you trigger another layers. So here is how it sounds. So yeah, it has this brassy vibes I really looking for when I try to emulate that doom jazz, dark New Orleans inspired textures. And it sounds like this. As you can see, I go really gentle on the mode wheel. Okay. And I think that immediately after that, I duplicate my track, render it in audio. So I don't need another instance of contact, and I think I pitch it. Yeah, I pitch it an octave above, if I'm correct, and I drown it into reverb, my usual Valhalla shimmer reverb. I open up the stereo field a bit with this free plugin called Rider by Polyverse, and I use my good old OSL Multi-Chorus by Oblivion Soundlab. This plugin was made by Oblivion Soundlab, and it contacted me to create a few presets. So I use my preset called Ensemble Padman here, and I think I turn the wet knob a bit down, so it creates a new textures from something I already have on the track. This is a simple trick I use all the time, like creating another texture from something you already have on the track. It keeps things cohesive. I think it's a right word. French bubbling here. I think it's a word, but it keeps things cohesive, and it allows you to go deeper on the audio manipulation, and as it was what I was looking for with this track. It was to manipulate things and take organic sound and turn them into something else. So it sounds like this. And the two together sounds like this. Next thing I did was to add to take care of my low frequency and my chord progression. So it began with the electric arm piano, so it sounds like this. Okay, and I double it instance of Arkhis called Floating Orchestra, strings, winds, and double reeds. Let's hear how it sounds like. This is a really cool instrument by Native Instruments. So this is I think it was I made this patch myself from the chroma preset and then tweak it a little. So let's hear how it sounds like. So really synthy, really retro synthy sound. General doom jazz thing. It's not just about jazz instrument, it's not just about brass, it's not just about chromatic percussion, it's also about synth and retro, analog, old synth. I don't even know myself how it works. So yeah, lost synth here, and I think an instance of untold strings, the three untold strings, again by Westwood instrument. So here is how it sounds like. And voila, my chord progression in a nutshell. Here is everything you need to see, no instance of lower needed too. And the final instrument in my chord progression is Lost Piano Pulse. I think it is a preset called Pulsing Piano here. So I've done nothing much here. It's like piano but with like an ongoing pulse each time you trigger a note. So here is how it sounds like. And I did a little bit of EQ here to get rid of the lowest frequency. So my chord progression is all here. So another thing I wanted to show you is how I used the upright bass, the latest instrument by musical sampling. I didn't use it to double the bass line. Instead, I wanted to use it to harmonize my chord progression. So if I turn on the electric home piano and the upright, you can hear that it's playing like its own thing, and I don't want the upright quality sound for the bass note, but to add that typical jazzy instruments into my track and playing his own thing. So that was the upright bass. For some textural aleatoric effect, I used the Constrictor strings by Audio Imperia. So nothing too complicated here. This is the Arco Downer Soul Pont 1 bar. I don't... with Constrictor, there are so many articulation in Constrictor, but I really don't process it too much. I'm just clicking on something, hearing how it sounded. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Obviously, it is drawn in reverb, my usual delay trick, so a ping pong delay with two different time here. And decapitator, I think this, it's pretty low on the mix, so it's more like movement you can hear in the background than a real in-your-face instrument. So it sounds like this. Regarding the percussion, really simple thing here too. If you listen to the Alone in the Dark soundtrack, you will often hear that classical jazz, you know, rhythmic, played in triplets. So this is exactly that. The instrument is jazz drum by Straight Edge Samples. It's a pretty old instrument now. It's really cool, and I wanted to use it. I could have used the swing jazz drum from ProjectSam swing. It would have worked, I think. But in straight edge jazz drums, you have this kind of aleatoric effect, and I really wanted that. If you listen to the Alone in the Dark soundtrack, you have a lot of that crazy free jazz kind of movement. So I really wanted that. So if you listen to that samples, it sounds like this. Yeah, I found it really cool to end the track. And the swing ProjectSam swing jazz drum is just used for a cymbal rolls. Really cool textural effect. Again, it is drawn in my usual Valhalla vintage verb. If you're familiar with my work, you know that Valhalla vintage verb is just everywhere on my track. Everywhere. And the other thing regarding the percussion was that really cool, vibraphone sounds in the jazz, and especially in that kind of hybrid jazz score. You will hear a lot of vibraphone with the motors on, and the motors like that vibrato. I never play a real vibraphone, to be honest, so I don't really know how it works, but you can trigger that motor with the system pedal here, and it's kind of bring that it's a really known sound, you know, like the vibraphone is playing with a vibrato pedal on it. So it sounds like this. Is reverb on it too. I'm not lying, I'm using this plugin all the time. So another cool trick I did, it's a shame I processed it and I didn't keep the original MIDI file, but this is I'm gonna show you that right now. So I use a library called Noir by Sonokinetic. Yeah, it's Noir by Sonokinetic, and where are you? Yeah, he's here. So sadly, I use this random button here. If you click on the O, you can randomly trigger different phrases and different samples. So I can't really rebuild the exact thing I did now. But the idea was to use that kind of texture that brings with that kind of texture that comes with Noir. I render them in audio, so it sounds like this. And that's it. And I think, yeah, exactly. I copy that exact same audio file. Yeah, I set it 2 octaves below, again to create another kind of texture. So I keep the exact same signal chain here, but I wanted to double it with like his dark bass counterpart. You know what I mean? There is something dark that is going here. Nearly there. The last thing I did was to create that kind of I use saxophone from musical sampling to create that kind of movement I really like. The idea was to use the free range of saxophone who came with the Austin saxophone from musical sampling and to make them play like an almost aleatoric movement in canon. So they're not starting at the same point, but they're all ending here. And the idea was to create a kind of a ebb and flow with the instruments. So here is how it sounds like. I'm gonna play them one by one so you can really understand, because I'm pretty sure my explanation were really not clear at all. Again, a lot of reverb and a lot of delay are used here. And I also use the clarinet again by musical sampling, uh, just because I wanted another range and to harmonize a bit further. So yeah, the clarinet is there too to play the same kind of things. Finally, the track, and with as we were saying, the aleatoric symbol effect here, and another instance of Arkhis called Deep in the Wood. And this is a wood ensemble instrument, so I figure it is marimba, vibraphone, xylophone, or thing like that, but playing really quiet and with a lot of movements. So it creates another uncanny textural note, and it sounds like this. Yeah, I think we are exactly where we wanted to be. Yeah, I've also had as I wanted to give the track a really retro feeling, I've used a vinyl texture. This one is from Soundly. If I remember correctly, this is a Soundly audio file I put here and copy paste all along the track. And nothing fancy to say. It's like a filter, but it's audio files, so I can control them as I want. I did the parallel compression trick here, so each time all the instruments are kicking, the compressor is doing its job on the vinyl texture, so it stay in place and never get too muddy or too noisy on my final mix. And regarding my master channel, so yeah, the little difference here is I've used the free vinyl plugin from Isotope, and I get rid of almost everything, no grain, no dust, no scratch, nothing like that. The only thing I've used is the warp effect, and it emulates that kind of old vinyl sounds when the tone wasn't exactly precise. So it's an effect I really love. It sounds like this. The rest of the mastering chain is pretty simple for those of you who already know my works. So OTT here to brighten the sound a little bit. The Clarinet tape stereo wave, it's just a master tape emulator. My Pro MB to control the various frequencies and keep everyone in place. A final compressor here, just really supple, but it allows me to make sure that everyone stay in place. is going. I no, sorry. I'm trying to make sure that the gain reduction never go below the -3 dB, because when you are crossing the -3 dB on the gain reduction, you start to hear the pump effect of the compression, and that's something we don't want at all. And finally, my loudness and limiter plugin, +6 dB add to the overall mix, nothing more, nothing less, and the general output level set to -0.5 dB. Yeah, I think that's it. We can now listen to the full track. I hope that new way of showing you my process will please you. Sorry for my strange French accent and my ridiculously low voice right now. I'm kind of sick, so it wasn't the best moment to try that exercise, but you know, let's get crazy, let's try something else for once. Let me know what you think in the comment down below, and see you on the next one. Thank you.